A genocide may have been committed in the West Darfur city of El Geneina in one of the worst atrocities, the year-long Sudanese civil war, now according to a report released by Human Rights Watch. It says ethnic cleansing and crimes against humanity have been committed against ethnic Massalit and non-Arab communities in the city of the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces and its Arab allies. Disturbing revelations there, but we have joining me on the program right now. Kimo MaHker is a public affairs analyst from South Sudan. Kimo, thank you for joining me on the conversation. Can you just give us an overview? How terrible or grave is the situation at the moment?
Thank you for inviting me today to be live with you guys and share the insights on the current genocides in Sudan. So, as being part of South Sudan, even though we are South Sudanese, but also we have a long hand in Sudan. So basically, we know what exactly happens in Sudan. According to the reports from Human Rights that you have just said, there has been a number of instances where possible genocide in Sudan, particularly in the region of Darfur. The conflict in Darfur, which began in 2003, has resulted in widespread atrocities, including mass killing, raping, and displacement of civilians. So basically, when looking at this situation from Sudan, it gives people no hope to understand exactly where the future of humanity holds. And that's why you see the human rights reports as published that showing the world the situation that is going on in Sudan apparently. So what I can say from the ground level is the situation is normalized, and we will continue to monitor as the public guys who are here to ensure the policies are in place. We will continue to monitor and see what are the possible procedures need to be taken to ensure that there is these civilians are protected, because these are the mainly youth and old age people which deserve a humanity kind of treatment.
All right, Kimo, just a quick one. I understand that you also, you're going a bit out of frame. So please, we just need a bit of space above your head, so you might just want to, sit a bit relaxed as I get slouching. Thank you. This is great. Now, there are reports of ethnic cleansing and also crimes against humanity have been committed against the ethnic Massalit and non-Arab communities in the city by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Is there any credibility to this report?
As I said, the data which is provided on the ground, there is no any credibility to prove until when we are actually on the ground to ensure that the report is verified and passed on. But when you look at the human reports, human rights reports, they have said the government has backed up the juries. Middle East has been accused of targeting ethnic groups in Darfur, which is not actually the case. That has not been the actual truth about that, as far what I can know in on the ground level. Because when you see the number of 15,000 people feared to kill in Genocide in 2023 is actually a very big number. And that one, there is no point to prove until we are all on ground to ensure we have those kind of numbers accurately.
All right, Kimo. Okay, you've said quite a number of things, but let's also look at some of the discoveries, being highlighted in this report. It has it that at least thousands of persons were killed and hundreds of thousands left as refugees between April and November 2023, and of course it goes on. These are pretty much distressing. This issue has been dragging on for so long. Let's look at the impact, particularly on women and children. How grave is it?
The impact on children and women is a very, very terrible impact, and at the policymakers on the grounds, we look forward to ensure that we end this kind of war and ensure that there is a future growth in terms of economic growth and in terms of also a human capacity development. Because when you have this kind of women which are in a dramatized situations, they won't be able to breastfeed their children very well, and also they won't be able to educate their children based on domestic issues, and also at the same time things to do with the government, because the leadership of children starts at home. And then coming to the children, apparently the children are not being able to be educated properly, because when we have a number of refugees which are just there loitering in their, maybe in the refugees camps, then where is the future? Where is exactly the future of Darfur and Sudan generally?
I mean, there's also, okay, there's also been talks as regards the warring factions coming to a round table, in terms of a truce, looking for a way forward. I mean, is there an end to this very dark tunnel?
Finally, there is an end. And as youth of the country, we appeal to the government that there should be an end. Because when a country has a continuous conflict, where do you expect the economic growth? And these people you are killing are the future generation of the country. If you are killing the women and children, meaning you have no future ahead of you. So what we can appeal to the government is that we have to end this kind of situation to ensure that the women and children are protected and are safe in order to build the nation. Because when you look at the news on daily, you will definitely see that there are people moving everywhere, going everywhere that people don't even know. And if you have the country which people are migrating every day, and then there is no use to it. So what I know from my perspective is the governments who are on the ground, they should come down and come to a final settlements and ensure that there is end. But from my side, there is actually going to be the end. There's going to be an end one day to ensure that we have this future kept together.
I mean, a lot is happening globally. People are beginning to ask questions that what exactly is the international community doing about it? Some may argue that the international community seems overwhelmed by what is happening in the Gaza Strip between Israel and Hamas, and also the Palestinians. And also there's the Russia versus the Ukraine war. Do you think South Sudan is getting enough international attention, in spite of the goings-on, in the international system?
Yeah, for the recent reports, and when you look at the recent report, there is a part there where they say this human rights watch, they have called organization, the organization has called for accountability for those guys who are responsible for this kind of atrocities for international community to take care of, to take action. And this should be an appeal to all the international communities and ensure that there is an end to this kind of conflict. So international communities, as they might be working behind the scenes, like the UN and the rest of the peace implementer or the peacemakers, we did see an attention, but there should be a very critical need for international community attention to address this kind of violence which is currently going on in terms of food, in terms of shelter, in terms of education, because as the future continues, people have to learn. So this from the youth side, I'm appealing to the community, international community, to look into these three things in terms of economics, in terms of learning, and in terms of the shelter of people. Because at the end of the day, these people, they are our people, and the international community, they are in charge of the livelihood of human being, of every human being worldwide.
All right. I'm forced to ask, Kimo, you are a resident in South Sudan. Currently, I understand that you're in Juba. I'm forced to ask, are you safe? Do you think you're safe?
Yeah, definitely I'm safe. The South Sudan is normal. Currently, the South Sudan is normal. We don't have any clashes in terms of politicals, and also we are currently heading for 2024 general elections, which I believe that this should be a call to international community also to really come on the grounds and access the life of the civilians, to protect and guide so that we don't have the same experiences which happen in Sudan. So all the international communities should actually look into this and try to protect the life of civilians in South Sudan also as well. Because we don't know, there is no future guarantee. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow when election comes.
Now, talking about the elections, can you just take us through what the climate is like at the moment, you know, to the build-up?
There's a lot of climate change now in South Sudan, and if you may be familiar with it, the economy has really dropped, and it is people are almost on their knees now in South Sudan. But we hope that when election come and everything is normalized, we will be able to be safe. But this economic also is a matter of climate change, because when you look in the oil productions, there is no much oil production in South Sudan because of the climate change, and there is also rains, very heavy rains, which is raining day and night.
All right. Now, Kimo, if you can hear me, let's also look at the economy generally. You talked about climate change having an impact on, you know, particularly the agrarian sector. How is the economy faring, particularly at the micro level? By micro, I mean family level. How much of an impact is the security situation, the climate change having on individuals in Sudan and families?
When we talk about the security is currently normalized. There is no killing of civilians, or even there is no any political clashes between the parties. That's one I can admit. And then also coming to the economic at the family level, when we look at the economic at the family level, now the families actually, the majority of families in South Sudan are going through a lot of economic challenges in terms of food, in terms of what, because when you look at dollar around, the dollar is day by day is changing. When you talk currently, it is around 3,200 per dollars, which now at the family level, at one family, maybe they can eat that thing at the meal per day. And when you see the income of the majority of people, none of those guys can pass like the income of a $500 per month or even a $300 per month. Nobody can afford that. And when you look at those kind of figures and compare to the livelihood, and as you know, the South Sudan dependency is too much. There's extended families together. So when you have those kind of extended families, it is very hard to feed them in this kind of situation.
Now, I mean, just last June, West Darfur governor, that's Kimo MaHker, was killed after accusing the RSF of committing genocide. Now, my question is this: how much of an incursion, or how much of influence would you say the RSF has on the security architecture of South Sudan?
The RSS, right?
Yes.
Actually, what on the security matters, the RSS has, when we deep into detail, which I would reserve for now, the RSF security influence on the South Sudan social security, their relationship might be something quite well, because they don't have any kind of, we don't have any kind of security threats now in South Sudan.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. You said you don't have any kind of...
A security threat.
So there is no security threat for now from the RSF? Yes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay. How about the calls that maybe, you know, they're carrying out some sort of genocide and violating human rights abuses?
In terms of genocides, we don't have any genocide practice, and when it comes to human rights violations, that can be there, because South Sudan is comprised of different ethnic groups which believe in different kind of denomination and cultures, whereby if you see, for example, let's talk about marriage. you'll see a young girl getting married to a very healthy kind of human being, but that is a culture. So as for me, somebody who has learned something, it can be a human rights violations. Because when we say there is no child marriage, meaning, and there's people who are practicing the child marriage, meaning there is a human rights violation. So in terms of human rights policies, I can't be able to say much, but what I know is that there is no proper implementation of the human rights policies.
Now let's talk about the government or governance in South Sudan. Would you say that the government is doing its best to represent the interest of the people?
Yeah, of course. The political national anthem of all the politicians is to take care of the civilians. But the proof is that how safe are the civilians in terms of economic? Because now, as a government, if you want, because as the youth, there is no money that you are demanding from the government. What you need are better policies, better roads, better infrastructure, and all these kind of things. But as for the government of South Sudan, being a young nation, the government, I can say, is trying their own best, their level best. But I appeal to them that actually increase their efforts to ensure that there are better policies which government businesses, and there are also infrastructure which allow the youth who have their own businesses to actually work nicely. Moving from Uganda to South Sudan, now if you have your own goods on the road, it will definitely take almost like 2 to 3 days to be cleared in the border, which is not how the economy can grow. So the government can actually improve on its private sector. Private sector worldwide is representing 60% of the economic income. So that's my take on that.
Now let's look at, of course, the border of the state itself. Do you think enough is being done to secure the country's borders?
For that, I can say there is a good relationship between South Sudan and our neighbor bordering countries, because when you look at the reports, there are very major kind of feedback from the people, but that could not be a real situation. When you look at those bordering countries, you'll see there is a smooth operations in terms of importing the goods from other countries to South Sudan. So I can say there is a good relationship between South Sudan and the rest of the countries.
Okay, can you be more specific? Relationship, in what capacity, in what areas? Does it have anything to do with refugees, absorbing refugees? Does it have anything to do with the economy? Does it have anything to do with trade, political interaction, diplomatic, relations? Can you be specific, in the areas?
Yeah, when we talk, I will talk about economic and trade, and then the relationship in terms of political, right?
I'm with you.
Yeah. So in terms of economic and trade, I can clearly say that South Sudan is benefiting from the rest of the countries right now, like Uganda and Kenya. And when you look at the economic transformations, which is currently happening in the rest of South Sudan compared to the rest of the countries compared to South Sudan, is a little bit kind of less. But in terms of economic, there's some of the neighboring countries like Uganda and Kenya, they are visiting South Sudan to ensure that there is an economic influence by making some investment here, and also ensuring that we have economic kind of memorandum of understanding to export goods from different countries to South Sudan, maybe at a cheaper prices. So that's what I can say. It's form of relationship, because when they are supporting us, meaning we have a good relationship with them.
All right. Kimo MaHker, Public Affairs Analyst from South Sudan. Once again, thank you for joining me on the conversation.
Pleasure. Looking forward.
And it's on that note we drop the curtains on today's episode. Well, before we go, I would always say on this program that leadership is all about accountability and not excuses. I think Africa, in particular, has come of age where its leaders need to start delivering on the benefits of leadership and stop giving the people excuses. I think they are tired of that. Well, on that note, I say goodbye. I always remember also that you can actually catch up in case you missed out on our YouTube page. The handle is at News Central TV. The opinions of our guests remains theirs and not that of News Central. My name is Dakpo Adigboye. Bye for now.